Great song. Good morning to you. Happy Sunday. Sunday fun day. Ready to worship? Good morning to you. All right. Welcome to Sunday edition of the Daily Dose. And let's talk. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're having a great weekend. Maybe you slept in. Maybe you're catching this on the replay. Let me know. I'd love to hear why I ask if you're on the replay. I do come back, and because I do so many lives, I do check back to see if you had if you caught on the replay. Maybe you had a question, you had a comment, and I want to make sure that if you're catching this live or on the replay, that I do acknowledge you. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk about weight loss and struggles, and one of the things that just comes, and I honestly I actually meant to write it down, but I forgot the way I titled it, so I do apologize on that, but we're going to go with it, and weight loss, and really like the space. I think really how I title it is the space between where you are at and your weight loss and the struggles, and I really want to just share with you how to approach them and how much space there is, and that could be interpreted two different ways. And I have to just share with you, I don't read this all the time. Sunday has just been something Jesus calling. I'm sure if you've maybe done some devotionals, you may not heard Jesus Calling. This one's by Sarah Young. It's just everyday devotions. Maybe you get into scripture, maybe you have your own morning routine that you do, your quiet time, and how you spend time with the Lord. And I want to just share this before I talk about just the space between you and your weight loss struggles. And I think that's how I title it. But let me just read this for you first. And if you're coming on here on the replay, and or you're coming on here live, doesn't really matter. You definitely listen to the whole thing. So today's Jesus Calling. Approach problems with a light touch. When your mind moves toward a problem area, you tend to focus on the situation so intensely that you lose sight of me. You put yourself against the difficulty as you had to conquer it immediately. Your mind gears up for battle, and your body becomes tense and anxious. Unless you achieve total victory, you feel defeated. There's a better way. When a problem starts to overshadow your thoughts, bring this matter to me. Talk with me about it. Look at it in the light of my presence. This puts so much needed space between you and your concern, enabling you to see from my perspective. You'll be surprised at the results. Sometimes you may even laugh at yourself for being so serious about something so insignificant. You'll always face trouble in this life, but more importantly, you will always have me with you, helping you handle whatever you encounter. Approaching problems with a light touch by viewing them in my revealing light. And how I wanted to relate this to this morning about the space you put between. It's really amazing. I think of the space, if you're, say, a man or woman of faith, and maybe you're not, and that's okay, still hear me out, is if maybe you know there's a God, but you don't really feel so close to him, but you feel so close to your problems. And that can be related to more than just weight loss, but let's just talk it in terms of where you're at in your health. And we can relate it to weight. I know sometimes we automatically think of where we're not at because of the number on the scale. I deal with it with people all the time who are making great progress with their pursuit on a healthier, more fit lifestyle. Yet the weight on the scale is still the thing that just tends to grab their attention, draw them in close. There's not a lot of space between their instantaneous reaction response to what the scale says when they step on it maybe in the morning. And there's a space, which is really, it's kind of this whole notion of tension. You think of tension in a muscle, right? In order for it to work, there has to be tension. And I think in life we have this bit of tension where maybe we're close to God in one moment, yet we still feel far away from the issues and challenges and struggles that are there. But when we draw ourselves closer to God in a gentle way, in a calm, like a light touch kind of way, in realizing and there's a peace about us, sense of peace and joy that's filled in being close to a God who you knew, who maybe you may or not know loves you so much. And I believe, and if you are a believer, you probably feel that closeness to him, which is great because then it puts those other things that are maybe so far away, the disappointments, the anger, the frustration, is kind of at far length. But let's just kind of flip the script for a moment. Is think about how we tend to maybe not focus on God so much, but we focus on our disappointment. We focus on what the scale says. We focus on being out of shape. We focus on being overweight. We focus on how unhappy we are in ourselves and our own bodies. When we get up in the morning and we walk by the mirror and you know you have to brush your teeth and the mirror's there and you don't even want to look at yourself because you're just so disappointed with how you've let yourself go. And that's the challenge, the struggle, is the space. Is because what happens is when you put so much space between you and God, guess what? You're really close. The tendency is to lean closer to the things that are really troubling you, and not to think that we shouldn't be addressing those, right? If you're overweight and unhappy and and out of shape and are not taking good care of yourself, yes, you want to get close to those things so you can address them, right? You need to take action on them, but not in a sense where you're taking yourself away from God, who believes and loves you no matter what you look like, no matter what the weight says on the scale, no matter how strong or how weak you are, how beautiful you see yourself in the mirror, right? And even we can say, hey, we know God loves us, but if you don't feel when you look and stand in front of the mirror, or you step on a scale, or you go about your day, or you think people are judging you, there's a sense of value that you have for yourself, regardless, even if you believe God loves you no matter what you look like, is also understanding that there's this value that you have for yourself, right? And I think that's hard. It's hard to really truly know and understand the full value of yourself if you're not close to God. What happens when you don't draw your close to God is it can be easy to have so much space between you and the struggles that you're going through. And now the way I see it and the way I interpret sometimes is when I feel closer to God, when I remove the space between me and my maker, between me and the Lord, between me and God, between me and Jesus, however you want to say that, and whatever you may relate to. And again, it doesn't really matter as far as your definition of that to some extent. But if you believe there's a God and he created you and you feel closest, when you get closer to him, what's amazing is even if the problems exist, if they're there, if your weight is an issue and a struggle, when you feel close to him, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not there. It just means that you trust in God that he's going to carry you through. Now, I know it's Sunday. I know that maybe the last thing on your mind is taking care of your personal health, your weight, doing something for yourself to not just feel good, but to actually, take really good care of what God created you. He created this body, one of you, only one of you, and he created it in the image of him, but he didn't create you to keep it there and to just kind of roll through life and take its punches. He created you to be the best that you can be. And if you are not working towards that, the hard thing is you're working in the space that you have between you and your best self. And that can get bigger and bigger. And I've had people that have come on who love the Lord, who have a strong belief in their faith, but they feel so far away from their best health. And that's something that I've taken a personal challenge, if you will, really my life's work to help remove that gap, to shorten that gap, to remove the space between between you and God, that's between you and God, right? But if you have that space that's removed and you feel closeness, and then there's this distance between you and your best self, I want to help remove the gap between you and your best self, between you and your weight. If weight is a huge issue, a huge struggle, a huge challenge, and Sunday comes rolling around, you're like, you know what? I feel bad about myself. I feel I'm not good enough. I feel overweight, out of shape, unhealthy, disappointed, discouraged. I want to give up. I just want to tell you, don't give up. You just need to start to slowly remove the space. And let me just read this again as I just kind of share today's daily dose, because I want to encourage you. And let me read this again. And as we just talked about about the space between you and your best health, you and your, if you want to call it your best weight, where you feel you would be absolutely not the number on the scale, valuable, but just feel like you could conquer anything. You can be bulletproof, so to speak, right? Think of this. When you go through, approach problems with a light touch. When your mind moves toward a problem area, you tend to focus on that situation so intensely to you that you lose sight of me. And I'm talking, this as being the Jesus calling. We're talking about Jesus here. So you pit yourself against the difficulty as you had to conquer it immediately. Your mind gears up for battle and your body becomes tense and anxious. Unless you achieve total victory, you feel defeated. But there is a better way. When a problem starts to overshadow your thoughts, bring this matter to me. That's Jesus. Not me. That's Jesus. Talk with me about it and look at it in the light of my presence. This puts so much needed space between you and your concern, enabling you to see from my perspective. You will be surprised at the results. Sometimes you may even laugh at yourself for being so serious about something so insignificant. You will always face trouble in this life, and that is biblical. But more importantly, you will always have me with you, helping you to handle whatever you encounter, approaching problems with a light touch by viewing them in my revealing light. Now, one of the things that I love about what I do for my life's work and as a coach and a mentor for people is to help them see light on the challenges and struggles, to just sense, hey, yes, maybe you're 40 pounds overweight, but hey, yes, you chose something healthy today. You exercised today. You went for the first walk in a very, very long time. You chose not to open that bag of chips. You chose to get a good night's sleep and good rest and not worry about where you're not at. And there's a closeness that I want to do and bring people in, bridging the gap between maybe how far down the road they've gone over the years, maybe they've let themselves go, and the gap between being absolutely their best in their bodies, feeling confident, feeling assured, feeling physically fit and strong, feeling good about the way they look and feel, feeling okay about looking at themselves in the mirror, feeling valuable enough. Again, enough, right? Valuable enough. I think sometimes people just go through life and just don't feel like they're valuable enough to make a difference. And I know for a fact you are, not because of what I can do and help you, but because what God's already done is He created you. And that's amazing. Know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, right? And that's something that if you're listening to this and you don't feel that way, I'm here to tell you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. God made only one of you. He made an amazing you, and He didn't make you to just roll through life and just kind of, He made you to do amazing things in life. And I don't know what that is. That's just between you and you, right? You and your mission in life, your life's work, whatever that is. And I'm sure it's amazing. But I do know that sometimes we separate, we put the space between where we're at and our best self. And I want to help remove that space. So listen, I can talk about this. We can, go back and forth, or you can just take it in and accept it and take action on it. Because if you're not where you're at, if you're not maybe at the place you want to be on the scale with your health, with your fitness, how strong you want to be, the good news is you don't have to stay there. The good news is you can actually make that gap smaller and smaller. You can actually make the space between where you're at now and being at your best. You can close that space. And now I can't, on a faith side, that's between you and the Lord. But on a fitness side, on a weight loss side, I can help you with that. And if you want to know more about that and what that's all about, reach out to me. Literally just put in, you don't even have to acknowledge it here, put it in a private message. I don't know if you private message or not, and maybe we've already corresponded. Go ahead and put in the message, in the private message, sorry. Maybe I didn't have my coffee this morning. Go ahead and put in the private message, let's talk. That's all you got to do. Just put in the private message, let's talk. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call and we'll see if I can help bridge that gap. Maybe you have that closeness to God. You know you're valuable. You know in the eyes of Him, no matter what you look like, you're infinitely valuable. You have worth, right? And you already know that you're there, but you also know that you haven't been taking good care of your health for a while. You also know that you're at a high risk and you're overweight. Maybe you're on a borderline of diabetes. Maybe you're on a borderline of having to go on medications. Maybe you even need a surgery. Maybe you're at a point where you just don't even want to go out because and I've hear all of these things. These aren't things I make up. These are what I hear from people on the phone. Mark, I don't even want to go out with my friends. I feel so disgusted about the way I look and feel. Yes, I know God created me and I'm valuable in his eyes, but I don't feel valuable in my own eyes and I need help. And if you need help, just put in the message, just send it to me. Let's talk. And we'll get on a call and we'll see if you and I are be a good fit to work together. And I'd love to help if I am. Again, I have a high capacity to help. I've been doing it for 25 years. I have a very high capacity to help more people. If you've been stuck and you've been struggling and if you've been kind of borderline on the fence, I want to help make that gap smaller. Is it happen overnight? It's not like, oh yeah, you just talk to me once and everything's fixed. No, you have to take action. And the action step, the very first one could be you just sending me a message privately and saying, let's talk. That's all I have. Happy Sunday. God bless you. I hope you have an amazing week. Take care. We'll see you.